Hello! Uh, for all those tuning in, welcome to this Ask the Vet Facebook Live hosted by Spay Neuter Network. I am the vet in question in the Ask the Vet, Dr. Boden. So make sure to like Spay Neuter Network's Facebook page and ask me any animal medical related questions that you have in the comments here below. This month we want to go over heartworms. Now, if you've been around a while, we went over heartworms a couple months ago. So that's okay. I bet we have some new people here, some new faces. So we're going to go over it again because it's really important, especially here in Texas. We see so many heartworm positive dogs. So as I'm going over heartworms, just be thinking about questions you have that you'd be interested in having answered, and pop them in the chat and I'll get to them as I have time during this Facebook Live. So first off, Spay Neuter Network is running a special for Heartworm Awareness Month. Visit any Spay Neuter Network clinic during April and save $20 on 1 year of heartworm prevention or $10 on a 6-month package. Now I'm going to encourage you to go ahead and get that full year because things get busy in life, and that's okay, but it makes it easier to just have the full amount you need on hand already, because honestly, like 6 months go by, you forget to pick up the next 6 months. So these packages include heartworm prevention and a heartworm test, and again, that's available in April only. And so I'm gonna pop over here. Okay, so hello again. I don't see any questions yet, so I'm gonna start talking about heartworms. So what are heartworms? They're literally worms that live in the heart and lungs of our pets, which, as you can imagine, with actual worms being in the heart and lungs, this can cause a lot of damage to the vessels of our pets' heart and lungs. So heartworms tend to affect dogs more than they affect cats, but they can affect cats. It's still possible for cats to acquire heartworm disease. Heartworms are spread by mosquitoes. So when an infected mosquito bites an animal, baby heartworms can be sent into the skin through the mosquito bite and travel into the bloodstream. And over 6 months, that heartworm grows into an adult worm that lives in the vessels of the heart and lungs, and it causes damage to both of those. So how do we find out if a pet has heartworms? Because, you can't just listen to their heart and hear the heartworms. So there is a test where blood is taken from the pet, and it's strange. It takes about 10 minutes to run at a vet clinic, and it's strange because it does look for female heartworm uterine antigen. So you're like, what? It looks to see if there's any female uterus producing stuff in the dog's body. And that sounds weird, but it's so quick to detect heartworms, and it makes it really easy to do in-house. And so we can also look at a drop of blood under the microscope and look for baby heartworms, which are called microfilaria, and you'll see them whipping around in the bloodstream if the dog has heartworms. So I'm going to check over here. We still don't have any questions. Okay, so there are a lot of options for prevention of heartworms. It's one of the easiest things to do to protect your pet against heartworms. And so there's chewables, there's topicals, there's even an injection for heartworm prevention. I personally have gotten my dogs the injection. It's so nice because it lasts for either 6 months or a year, and then you just don't have to think about it. If you do decide to do a chewable or topical, just set an alarm for yourself, a calendar reminder in your phone that reminds you to do it every month, because I know when I was giving my dog chewables, it was just hard to remember to give it. I was like, it's always on the 12th of every month. I don't know why I chose the 12th. It must have been the day that I got their heartworm prevention. So set a calendar reminder for yourself, or always do it on the 1st, or, just link it up to something else so you can remember to give it, because that's a really important part of getting prevention, is remembering to give it. So, the prevention doesn't stop mosquitoes from biting your dog, but it quickly takes out any baby worms that your pet picks up before they ever make it to adulthood and begin causing damage to the heart and lungs. And so, there are preventatives to prevent mosquitoes from biting dogs. The one that comes to mind is Vectra. It's more like a mosquito repellent, but it's still really important for the dog to be on heartworm prevention just in case, some rogue mosquito can somehow get through that. And you don't want that happening. So, um, let's see. So, we have a question over here from Liliana. She says, "My puppy is chasing her butt. Does she have worms?" So she might. She might not. She might like her tail, honestly. Just like running around chasing after her tail. Sometimes you might see like scooting when they have worms or they're chewing on their butt. You might even actually see worms in their poop. The great thing about heartworm prevention is it also is usually a dewormer. So it deworms the intestinal parasites as well. And so, but if you have concerns about that, you can always take your puppy to a vet and they can run a fecal sample. Or you could, even if you already have an established relationship with a veterinarian, you can take her poop to that veterinarian, and they'll usually run a fecal test and give you any dewormer if she needs it. So yeah, thanks for asking that question, Liliana. Okay, so back to heartworms. And the heartworms are a little different than regular intestinal worms. They're still all worms, but the heartworms live in the bloodstream, whereas intestinal worms, they live in our small intestines, our large intestines, stomach. Hopefully not ours, but they can live in our animals and ours. So it's really important to have them dewormed in both ways. And so going back to heartworms, like prevention is just so easy. It's really easy. So many dogs end up with heartworm disease, and especially when they aren't on prevention, it's just so easy for it to happen. Or if they miss a dose of prevention, I've seen dogs before where the owner comes in and they're like, "I stopped giving heartworm prevention, from November to February. I thought there weren't mosquitoes," and their dog comes up heartworm positive. So make sure to just keep them on prevention year round. Again, to recap, that injection is so easy. You can just get it done at their yearly appointment if your veterinarian carries the injection. But if they don't, again, really good options. Chewables, it's like giving your dog a treat every month. And then there's products that also combine heartworm prevention and flea and tick control. So those are really good too. So once a dog becomes infected, they'll need heartworm treatment. And treatment is a process over several months, which involves multiple pills, injections for your pets. And they receive these injections in their back muscles with a medication that kills and breaks up the adult heartworms. And so for 6 weeks following that treatment and all during that treatment, you have to keep your dog calm since the worms are dying off and the pieces can become lodged in the vessels. And so heartworm treatment is not cheap and it's not easy to go through. So just keep your pet on regular prevention and you won't have any issues with it. And I really implore you to look into that if your pet's not already on that. So Linda asks, "Can you order flea meds online from here?" I don't know the answer to that question, but I don't think you can. Linda, if you're in the DFW area or San Antonio, Spay Neuter Network has physical clinics there, and they do sell heartworm prevention and flea control at their clinics if your pet has an exam there. And so really easy to go in. They have walk-in clinics. Look on their website, look on their Facebook page to check those out, and maybe you'll be able to get some from there if you're in one of those areas. Okay, so heartworms. Again, I just really want y'all to know how serious it is. that these worms can cause damage in the heart and lungs. It can progress to where they do end up dying, and that's really bad. But it can also just cause damage to their heart, cause heart disease, cause lung issues, cause difficulties, breathing and being able to exercise well. And so prevention is really important. If your dog is infected, treatment is really important. And even though we can't see these worms, it's still a very big deal. And so I'm gonna pop back over here and check if we have any more questions. If anybody has any questions, just a reminder, you can put them in the chat. Otherwise, I think I saw. Okay, no, I haven't. Yeah, and just to reiterate, Spay Neuter Network's running a special for Heartworm Awareness Month. This month, April 2023, is Heartworm Awareness Month. So if you visit any of those clinics, you'll save $20 on 1 year heartworm prevention in a package with a heartworm test, or $10 on a 6-month package. So go ahead, visit them, and they'll be able to get y'all set up. So, hi, Helen. Okay, how do I introduce my 10-year, 7-year, and 9-year-old dogs to my nephew's puppy? So I would make sure that, and then how do I introduce my nephew's puppy to our cats? I would make sure that it's in a controlled situation, that you don't just let them all run loose in the backyard one day. But if you can, try to, first off, probably have them all on a leash. And you can introduce them through, if your dogs are okay with it, through a fence. So they can at least see each other first. If your dogs are showing some territorial signs, such as their haunches are raised or they're barking a lot, you could even, just talk calmly to them, let them sniff the puppy. But if they show any signs that they're not going to accept the puppy, I would recommend just waiting, taking it slowly if you can. If your nephew lives with you and you need to make this happen quickly, if you can keep the puppy separated from the other dogs, and they'll be able to smell each other, know that each other's been around the house. And then probably the first time they meet, they'll all be excited. And then with the cats, again, the same thing. Most puppies are very exuberant. They get so excited when they see a cat. So depending on how big your nephew's puppy is, they might run up to the cat, try to play with the cat like it's one of your other dogs, and be met with a stern rebuke from your cat. Usually that's swatting at the puppy. But if your cats have been around dogs, they should be okay to be introduced to your little nephew's puppy. That sounds so sweet. And so, yeah, thanks for asking those questions, Helen. I don't see any other questions. And so, with that, I'm going to say thanks for tuning in again, and follow along for more details of events on Spay Neuter Network's Facebook page, which if you click on somewhere around here maybe, you'll see where their Facebook page is, and you can click the follow button. The next Ask the Vet will be May 3rd, and it'll be here on the Facebook page. And so okay. And then, thanks, Helen. I hope you have a good Easter too. And make sure your pets don't get into chocolate. And then Barbara just asked, she has an appointment for her 5 to 6 month old kitten to get neutered, and he's just started marking. That should improve with neutering. Marking behaviors are almost exclusively in male cats. Although I have seen it with neutered male cats, but usually it's because they were neutered later in life. And so, yeah, get that done as soon as possible. cat marking is not great. And so hopefully he's been using the litter box prior to that time. Okay, well, thanks again for tuning in. That's all for tonight, and we'll see y'all next month. Okay, bye.